route you choose, education is going to be a big part of that. Now, it doesn't have to be formal education, but if we're not growing and learning, we're not bringing value to the market. If we're not bringing value to the market, we're not going to get paid at a high rate if we're not bringing value.
Your parents were like, be better than me,
Yeah.
but it's now my generation is I want to be better than my parents. Like,
Right.
my parents are very successful, but how can I be more successful than them?
Yeah.
This is the Uncommon Success Podcast. On this show, we love to hear about the journey of success.
Yes, hello and welcome to our community. Thank you for joining us on the Uncommon Success Podcast. My name is Andy Coats, and I am your host of this wonderful podcast that we have here. And I'm joined again by my energetic co-host. I would call her guest co-host, but now she's been on a few times with us. But I'm joined by who happens to be my niece, our wonderful co-host this week, Mackenzie Coats, is joining us today.
Thanks. Always fun to be on the show. Today you're listening to episode 17, and we will be discussing higher education and careers.
Yeah, today we'll be mixing it up a little bit from our typical format. If you're watching, you can tell it's just the two of us, just me and Mackenzie. If you're listening, you'll just get the two of us today, just me and her. And I've asked Mackenzie to join me on this show today for some discussion about the value of college and the other opportunities, the pathways, if you will, for career. So that's where we're heading today.
It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, and here in a moment, we're going to hear your story a little bit. But before we explore your story and the topic, one of the things we're doing right now, I started this last week, so it's, no one else is here to tell me no, so it's just me and you. So we're doing what I'm calling double positives. So tell us 2 positive things about your week this week, and then I'll share a couple of positives for mine.
For me, I got into nursing school this week. And then
Awesome.
This one is kind of like both positive and negative. I hurt my ankle. I broke it. But it's my driving foot, and I do not like driving. So now I have to have people take me everywhere. And it's like I just get to ride in the car.
You feel like a celebrity,
and
don't
not
you?
get to drive. I do.
Do you ride in the back seat when it's just you and someone else?
I'm going to be honest. If we're taking like my car, because I have like the handicap parking, because we had a really busy week and it was hard to find parking this week.
Yeah.
I would be like, y'all can sit in the front seat and I'll sit in the back seat of my own car. And I chose to because I enjoy the back seat of my car.
That's awesome. So you feel like a local celeb getting in and out of the car. And what you need to have them do now is open the door for you as well.
I might start making them.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So got into nursing school, which is great. And then even though with a broken foot, finding some positives in it. I like it. So for me this week, a couple of fun, positive things that took place. One, I'm a children's book author, and the first book that I wrote, it's an award-winning book, and we just found out this week that it won a second award. So that's pretty exciting.
That's impressive.
Yeah, pretty fired up about that. So just had a great team that's helped me along the way, and so it's a shared success for sure, but it's pretty exciting. So being the first book that we put out, and it won another award, so pretty awesome. And then the second thing is I have another book that I've been working on that's for our younger kids, for 3 to 6 year olds. We have a book called Mighty Max, a book series called Mighty Max, and it helps kids face their fears. And we're releasing this week, so we've got it sent off and everything's squared away, so it's set to release this week. In fact, if you're listening to the podcast, it'll be releasing tomorrow. If you listen on the day this comes out, tomorrow that book releases, and so it's pretty exciting.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, so a couple of positive things that are happening in my life. Now, I didn't break an ankle or nothing, so I didn't have to. Our studio we're in that we record in is upstairs, so my house also you have to climb stairs to get up. So and then to get to those stairs, you got to climb up the driveway that's on a hill. So we sit on a hill. You got to climb a lot of stairs. And I thought this is perfect to ask my handicapped this week niece to walk up the steps of all weeks.
It's okay. Be better next time.
Yeah.
Just be more cautious. Think more before you're...
Well, maybe next time don't break an ankle before you're coming on the podcast. I'm pretty sure I told you about this podcast before you broke your ankle.
I think, you did actually.
I think so.
I think you did.
Yeah. So I had you scheduled, and you thought, how do I get out of this? I'll break an ankle to get out of this. But you're here. You're in.
I showed up.
You showed up with a ride here.
I did.
Pulling up
I did.
with an escort. So that's awesome. Awesome. Well, we're if you are listening and watching today, we encourage you, just thinking positively helps out, definitely. We have a lot of negative things happening in this world, so just thinking about some positive things from your week helps us keep our perspective. As we're on a journey towards success, it's really easy for us to get our minds wrapped around the negative things that are happening. So the more we can focus on the positive, the better we'll be. So whether you're in your business or you're in leadership, whatever it might be for you, take an opportunity this week. Think about the positive things that have happened for you this week, and you can keep it to 2. Even if you got to spin a broken ankle to make it happen, look for the positive. And so for your week, think of the double positives for this week. Okay, Mackenzie, let's start with your story. Before we jump into the topic, I want to share with our audience a little bit. I want to start here with who is Mackenzie. You've been on the show 2 times now, right?
I think so.
So
Sounds
been
about
twice, and now 3rd time on the show. We've talked about you a little bit, but want to hear just your story a little bit. So take a few minutes. Give us the overview of who is Mackenzie. If you're interviewing for a job, or if you were just sharing, someone says, hey, you're on the news because you're famous now because you got this personal driver that's taking you around town. They say, hey, tell us who Mackenzie is. Tell us the overview of who you are, what you do, all that kind of stuff.
So I'm from Bossier City, Louisiana, and I've grown up here, born and raised. I went to Airline High School, graduated from there, and now I attend tech. And I love it there. It's so much fun.
For all of our listeners, that's Louisiana
Tech. Sorry,
correct?
there's a bunch of different
There's
techs.
a bunch of techs.
There is.
Yeah, so
and
Louisiana Tech.
I'm in a sorority, Kappa Delta there. It's so much fun. And then I also just got accepted into nursing school, like I said. So I'm majoring in nursing, and I'll start that in the fall, which I'm so excited about. And then I love the Lord, and he is like definitely the person who's like put me in all the paths I've been in. He's helped me through everything. So that's just a little bit about me.
Awesome. Yeah, Mackenzie was a dancer for a long time. If you're wondering how she
Yeah.
broke her foot, she was probably doing something in the dancing world.
I was.
Yeah.
Sure was. We were supposed to have, we had a dance competition against all the sororities, and I was supposed to be doing a stunt, and I've never done a stunt before. They just let go of my feet.
Yeah.
It happens.
It happens. And
It does.
broke it in a couple of places. But hey, that's what happens when you're just a competitive dancer, right?
That's what happens.
I thought you retired from dancing. I
so
spent
too.
many years avoiding going to dancing competitions till the very end when you were old enough that you're like, hey, you got to be here for this, you know? And so I thought you were retired from dancing, and then turns out you came out of retirement to break a foot.
Should have stayed.
Should have stayed in retirement.
It proved my body can't handle it anymore.
Awesome. So that's a little bit of Mackenzie. And so nursing has been something you've talked about for many years.
It has.
Of wanting to get into nursing. And what made you choose that route?
So I wanted to be a nurse since I was younger. There was someone who really influenced me to become a nurse because she was a nurse. And like she would kind of like give me like a little bit insight of like what she does. She would like show me things, and I was like, okay, this really interests me. So my whole life, I was like, I want to be a nurse.
Yeah.
Well, then about sophomore year of high school, I was like, maybe not. Like maybe nursing's not for me. Like I don't know if I want to do anything in the medical field. And I was like, so I started looking at other things. Well, I decided like engineering. Yep, that's the thing for me. It wasn't.
Yeah.
After I did a quarter of engineering, I was like, no, I need to go back to like what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so I changed my major, and I'm to nursing, which is what I've always wanted to do. And I'm like so excited, and it's going to be so much fun.
You know, that really, it's a good setup for us, you know, hearing your story of that journey. A lot of people, they pursue different careers, you go on different paths, and, you know, like I know even in your discussions, like you're not going to make a lot of money because first you were in like biomedical engineering.
And they make good money.
They make good money.
But they're also by themselves.
Right.
Almost all day.
Yep.
And I can't do that.
Yeah, they're researchers, and they're in isolation a lot, and you're a highly social person that likes to be on the move.
Yeah, I am.
And you return back to your passion. At the end of the day, this is what your passion is. I saw a little picture you put on social media that has you saying you want to be a nurse when you were like this, probably
That was 5th grade.
10, 11-year-old kid holding up a sign that says, I want to be a nurse, and then just got accepted into nursing school. So stepping into your passion, it changes things.
It does.
The relief you get when you're like, this is what I'm supposed to do, makes a big difference.
100% it does.
So have you felt a little bit of that relief after shifting out of biomedical engineering into nursing?
I have. And like now, like we turned in our applications by March 1st. So like I've been waiting since I turned mine in like the middle of February.
Yeah.
Because I'm just an early person.
Yeah.
And so I've been waiting since the middle of February. And so it's just been a waiting game. And every single time
2 months felt like 2 years, probably.
I get an email, it's like, I don't know if I got accepted. And there is 50 people who got accepted, and there was around 200 who applied.
Oh, wow.
So it's like one of those things that's like we did not know.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most competitive cohorts they've ever had.
Yeah. And you got in.
And I did get in.
Awesome. Well, today we're talking about higher education. So you're right smack in the middle of college, in your wrapping up freshman year. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Although you've done a lot of college courses because you started those in high school.
Yes.
So you've already got almost 2 years worth of college completed, even though you're wrapping up your freshman year in college. So we're talking about higher education today. We're also going to talk about the career paths and just different directions. And so even hearing a little bit of your story kind of helps in our framework of our discussion today. But for our listeners, whether you are a parent that's listening, grandparent that's listening, a leader that's listening, understanding the nature of the current situation, our higher education and career path journey is for our younger adults, I think it's a very helpful thing. So I thought, what a great opportunity to bring in Mackenzie to have this conversation and discussion today, because you're right in the middle of it. I spent some time working in higher education, working in college. I taught some high school business courses, and I've taught collegiate business courses. And so I've been in that world and seen the pressures and all that kind of stuff that do happen. And so I thought today we'd spend some time just having a little bit of discussion today. So let's start by discussing a little bit the pressure that students are facing when it comes to college. So Mackenzie, can you walk us through, just from your experience, what are the pressures? What is it like? I know it's been a year since you were in high school. You probably remember that pressure quite well. The pressure that students are facing these days of you got to go to college. What does that look like?
I feel like the number one thing is like after COVID happened, a lot of people started to realize, like especially like my age, that not all jobs are secure. And so I feel like that is definitely something that's like, I need to go get a college degree. And when I'm getting my college degree, I need to be specific about what it is, because you can't just go get something like just because, yes, being passionate about it matters, but also job security matters.
Right.
So it's like you have to be very particular about what you're majoring in. Does this have a career path? Like, can I be financially stable to an extent with this degree?
Yeah.
Or is it something that I'm about to waste thousands upon thousands of dollars on?
Yeah, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Depending on where you go.
Right.
And then not even get anything out of it.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing. And then also academics, like grades, ACT scores, SAT scores, those matter more than like you realize. In school, like in high school, they are like, the only time this is going to matter is for you to get accepted into college.
Yeah.
It's not true.
Right.
I have a good ACT score, but it's not. I could have done better because I'm not a good standardized test taker, which is another thing.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that standardized testing is like, it's so hard, and that's your definition of academics when not everyone can take a test.
Right.
That should not be what determines how much money you get because of one test.
Yeah.
But that ACT score, I'd use that for my nursing application.
Yeah.
And in high school, they tell you only will use this.
Once you get in, you're good.
Once you get in, you're fine. You don't have to worry about it. I got into college. All my friends who started out in nursing also got into college with their ACT score. But their ACT score doesn't mean they're going to get into nursing school.
Yeah.
So it's like they say all these things. They put all this pressure on you. And they're like, oh, once you get in, you're fine. But it's not.
Yeah.
And so you have to constantly have this pressure of, are my grades good enough? Is this good enough for my next step? Can I go further from just nursing school, like nurse practitioner school? Like, are my grades now going to be good enough for then?
Right.
Am I still going to have, is this class, this 1B that I got, is that going to affect me so far down the road when I was like, oh, it's just an engineering? Like,
Yeah.
it's just something that like, you don't realize how much it matters
Right.
from parents, school, financially. Like, the better your grades, the more money you get.
Right, and because colleges, we're going to talk about some of this here in a little bit, but the price of college has gone up. So getting scholarships, then the grades are connected to that. Testing scores are connected to that. And it seems like, now I taught just for a year on a high school level business classes, but it seemed like every time you turn around, you're taking more tests. There's ACTs happening all the time. There's all the standardized testing testings that take place. It seems like there's always these testings that are happening at each different level. So for you, even thinking back to the high school, when did it start, the pressure of preparation for college? Like, did they start that conversation as a freshman in high school with you guys?
I would say I started taking my first college level classes freshman year.
Wow.
So they also encourage you to take these college level classes, which I recommend, because it really sets you up for success when you get into college. Because no, the classes you're taking in high school that are college level, they're not much harder than your high school level classes.
Right.
And when you get to college, you're not going to want to be taking these 100 level classes, because they seem like stupid classes to be taking.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I already know this. Like, I did this in high school. Why am I repeating all this?
Right.
So it's one of those things that, like, that's one pressure that they give you that you realize pays off in the long run.
Yeah. Now, is that the same as the dual enrollment, or is that separate?
There's AP,
yeah.
and then there's dual enrollment.
Yeah.
So AP is basically one test determines pass or fail. Dual enrollment, you are enrolled in college and high school at the same time.
Okay.
And that is, you'll have two, like, for the way that we did it is you have two separate grade books. So you have your high school grade book and you have your college grade book. And you could have two separate grades in both classes, just because high school, they gave you more fluff grades than college do.
Right.
So that, to me, sets you up more for success than AP does. But I did start we couldn't do dual enrollment freshman year, but I took my first AP class freshman year. Then I took an AP class every single year of high school.
Okay.
And then I started taking dual enrollment in sophomore year for math. So
as a sophomore in high school, you're already taking college class, not just college prep classes, but taking college credit classes starting as a sophomore.
I took college algebra starting sophomore year.
Yeah.
Which is a class that some people don't take until their sophomore year of college.
Yeah.
So
adding to all the pressure of this, you're already taking college classes, and so there's even the pressure of, I've already started into college, but let's say you get to be your senior year and like, I'm not sure really that I want to go on to college. Well, you're already 4, 5, 6 classes deep in the college classes that you've already taken. Mm-hmm. So just the pressure of to go ahead and go on to school is there. And so the pressure that students are facing right now, just from in my own experience, is very high. We want high expectations. We're striving for success, set the bar high, all of that. But the pressure to take the next step to go to college is very amazing, and not everyone's set up for that. So it's very interesting to see how hard there is that push, if you will.
With that being said, why do you feel like college is pushed so hard?
I think there's a couple of things. I think one, there's a generation of that I'm a part of that now are I'm your parents' age, and so there's. My generation came from, a lot of us were first students to go to college. Our parents' generation didn't go to college, or they went back to college, so there wasn't as much. So they all pushed for us. They were pushing hard because they wanted for us to do better than them. So they pushed real hard. You got to go to college. Got to go to college. It's the route to go. You got to go. So that was ingrained in my generation, was college is the route. And so now I think you have my generation who's leading a lot of this and saying college is the way, college is the way. And I think there's a money machine in college.
I was about to say, I think that push of your parents were like, be better than me.
Yeah.
But it's now my generation is, I want to be better than my parents. Like,
right.
My parents are very successful, but how can I be more successful than them?
Yeah.
So
right.
It's like almost a one-up in a sense of
right.
like, you're better than your parents. Well, since they're better than them, well, I also want to be better than my parents.
Right. Yeah, the need to want to grow and continue. And, I think that part of the push that you see a lot from, these colleges, they make money on if you're enrolled. It's not based off of students that are graduating. It's not based on how many classes you attend. At the end of the day, I know from working in college, the college world, at the end of the day, they don't really care if you show up to class or not.
No, they don't.
And they don't really care if you pass that class or not. They're interested in you being enrolled in that class because enrollment matters to them, because that's what's driving the revenue that they're getting. So even from that standpoint, there's a big push to just get students enrolled in school and figure it out along the way. And today, I think part of the discussion we want to have is I want to talk through kind of the pros and the cons of the different routes, because I don't believe that college is the only route. there are some students who college is the path for them to take, and there are some that it's not. That vocational pathway
100% agree.
is very much a great option. That leads to, I believe both of these lead towards success. And so today we're talking higher education and careers for that reason. So we want to talk about the pros and cons of both, the college route and the career path route. So today we want to talk about the pros and cons of those. And Mackenzie, why don't you let's start with the pros and cons of college. So if you'll introduce these concepts to us, the pros and cons, and then we'll just have some discussion around those.
All right, so I'll start with the pros first. So
Okay.
the first pro that we'll be discussing is the different career opportunities. College degrees can open many doors for people once they've obtained it. And you can have multiple career opportunities, higher paying jobs, compared to people who only have just a high school diploma or a GED.
Yeah, the career opportunities are definitely there. As a pro, depending on the route you take, what's great about college is they send you down a track. You choose your degree path that you want to go on, and you specialize, and you become an expert in 4 years to 6 years to 8 years, depending on how long you just keep going in college. Or like me, you just spend a lot of time in the undergrad phase, But if the more time you spend in college, you're learning a lot of just specialized into that area. So you become almost an expert walking into the industry on the topic of. You may not know the industry yet, but conceptually you have a good idea of information and education around the topic. So you're heading into a career that's specialized and that requires that degree, and oftentimes you can't even get some of those jobs without degrees, which makes those specialties higher paying type jobs. So yeah, the career paths are definitely, career opportunities are stronger as a pro for college.
I feel like it also, with that, you are developing a really rich foundation
Yeah.
for I'll just give this example, like biology. Like if you are a biology major, you're learning so much more than just someone who just graduated high school. Like high school biology compared to like upper level biologies are not the same. Like there's so many more like individual concepts that go along with biology
Right.
that you don't even realize, and some people can't even grasp the concept of it.
Yeah.
And so I think that helps you. And like that's the reason doctors get paid so much, is because they have to know so much information. So it's
Yeah.
one of those things that's like, if you are willing to put in the work for that degree, like it will pay off, and you will end up becoming a better, like you'll just be better because of it, because you're willing to put in so much work into it.
Yeah, your research shows that the higher paying jobs are those specialized degrees because those people put the time in. So it definitely supports that those career opportunities are there because you've spent so much time specializing in it. That's good. So career opportunities, first pro for us. What else you got?
I feel like that actually just led us into our next one,
Okay.
which is personal growth. So college provides an environment for personal growth and development, offering opportunities to explore new interests, gain independence, and develop a higher order of critical thinking, problem solving, and communication skills.
Yeah, that's so true. I've probably one of the things I used to say years ago. I've shifted a little bit in this because the world has shifted. But if you'd asked me a decade ago, should someone go to college, I would tell you yes, primarily because of the personal growth that happens, the stepping out of your parents' home, getting the independence, having to think on your own, manage your own life and calendar and resources, and the hustle that's there. How do I got to get a job because I'm spending my money on the weekend, all that kind of stuff that you got to figure out. It builds a lot of opportunity. We'll put it that way, an opportunity for personal growth. Now, some people don't always take advantage of that opportunity, but it allows for that.
I feel like this is so like weird to say, but just in my I haven't even finished a whole year, but just this first year of college, I feel like I have changed and grown so much as a person, honestly, because of stress.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like a weird way to put it, but like we are on the quarter system, so it's very fast paced, and it's a
Right.
lot different. We have to learn what most schools have to learn in 15 weeks in 10. So it's very different. Well, fall quarter, you have football games, you have social activities. It was my first quarter of college, my first time away from my parents for that long.
Right.
I live in a house with two other people. Like, we had to learn how to live I had to learn how to live with two other people who are from a different background than me,
Yeah.
raised a different way than me. So it's like that taught me a lot as a person. So did the fact that like I was so stressed out that quarter, and I learned how to manage stress because
Yeah.
in the real world, which yes, college is the real world, but like
Yeah.
at this same time, like I'm still being supported by my parents. I'm still being supported by my friends in a way that I won't be supported when I graduate.
Right.
So it's like with that support, I still had to learn how to manage stress. Like
Yeah.
it was something that I was like, when I get a job, I'm gonna be stressed out. I can't just shut down and not do school.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to shut down and not do work. So that taught me that things are gonna be stressful and things are gonna be hard, but you just have to keep going because it will get better eventually.
Yeah.
And it did. And now, 2 quarters later, I look back at fall quarter and I'm like, wow, that was crazy, but now it's crazier, and I
Right.
can handle it just fine.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's really just taught me so many different lessons just from 1 year.
Yeah, and can you learn that in other environments? Sure. Can you learn that by not going to college? Sure. But it provides a very almost safe space for you to find that personal growth and figure you out. You know, how am I going to be with friends and relationships and managing schedules? And because once you get in the real world and you start having using that same term, real world, when you get outside of the college realm and you have the career and the relationship and kids and all that kind of stuff, it still has to be managed. So it gives you a good, safe place to grow and learn in that. It's good.
Yes, and then the next pro
Okay.
is networking. So college offers a valuable opportunity to build a network of peers, professionals, and professionals in your field of interest, which can be beneficial for future job prospects, internships, and mentorship opportunities.
Yeah, it's probably one of the greatest pros that college definitely offers is you walk out as a young adult having a lot of networked connections that you probably don't have in a normal environment, normal setting. And so maybe if you're even listening to this and you're like, talking about the pros of college and you're like, okay, I get it, I can grow, I get it, there's career opportunities, it doesn't really apply to me. One of the great things about college is that you walk out with peers who have gone through the same journey with you that are probably walking into the same field. So you have the support system that's around you that's greater than just having family because they understand what you're walking through. You have those professionals who you've met along the way through the different internships or different job opportunities or whatever it might be. And then those professors who have walked through this with you, especially as you get into the later specialized classes where you come back to them as you get into the career world and say, hey, I have a question. Here, I'd love some feedback from you. And it just gives you a great, strong network of support that comes along the way. Are you finding some of that already?
I will say that just from this 1 year, like I have had so many I've already started looking into internships through tech. Like Louisiana Tech offers, I don't know about other colleges, but like they are very big on get an internship. Here's different organizations to join that are career specific, or here's different things you can do that are going to help you with your resume. Like do this and join this organization, and then that's a whole foot in a different direction of now you have this on your resume and they know you've already been getting experience in your field. Oh, that looks good. And we also like at tech, like we have different, like we have what's called like a career browse kind of thing, and we have a bunch of different companies and businesses come, and they come every single quarter, and it's like this whole career fair, and they set up booths, and the students, like for business specifically, they have to dress up in like business professional clothing, and they go to each different booth and they can talk to the people who work there, and they can talk to the company, and it sets them up to get a job. They're very big on here's your job. Basically Louisiana Tech hands you your job. And I know a lot of different colleges don't do that, but they put you in the place where you to go, and they give you your job. They have people come to speak to all the classes and all these different things, and it makes your life so much easier in the future. And then another way is like being in a sorority. That also helps you in different ways because you have girls who are older than you have girls who are younger than you, who are about to walk through what you walk through, who have already walked through what you walked through, and they're more than willing to help. So like my sorority big, she's in nursing, her big is in nursing, so like our whole little family, essentially, we're all in nursing, and it's like I have two people I can look up to and ask questions, And it helps me with what classes I should take, what quarter, what should I do next? Should I go ahead and start looking at different kinds
What
of jobs?
professors to avoid? You know?
What that's a good one.
Yeah.
And it just helps you because it makes your experience easier.
Yeah.
And it also makes it easier because you know that you're not alone.
Yeah.
And they will help you no matter what they're going through and no matter what you're going through.
Yeah, and it's a great network for today, but it also sets you up for the future. You know these relationships are going to be here for years and years, decades and decades to come. And sure, you can build that network in other places and spaces, but college provides a great network for that. Let's shift to the cons a little bit here. Give us the cons of college here. What you got?
So the first one would definitely be the financial burden. The cost of college is very expensive. It's the tuition, the fees, living expenses associated with attending college, and it can create a huge financial burden leading to student loan debt and long-term financial obligations.
Yeah, it's probably one of the as a con, I definitely like that as number one because student loan debt is, I think I saw some stats, it's if it's not over, it's approaching or near the $2 trillion mark for student loan debt.
That's insane.
Which really cripples our country. And I get it. I have a lot of student loan debt myself. And so I understand, there's all the debate and argument about student loan forgiveness and all that kind of stuff. And the unfortunate situation that took place is there was a lot of colleges that took advantage of raising the cost of college, allowing the federal government to back it. They'd give loans to 18, 19, 20-year-olds who had no idea what they were doing and taking out these maxing out loans to pay for college or living while in college to whatever rate it cost. And so, sure, there were caps on it, but it's very expensive. So that the debt that is extremely high and not going anywhere, and that trails with you for a long time. And
also feel like the education behind debt and student loans isn't there.
Correct.
I feel like, myself, I'm very lucky and very fortunate that my parents are helping me with college, but
Yeah.
not everyone gets that.
Right.
And I'm watching my friends who are like, I have to go take out a loan for this. And they don't really know what that means. Yes,
Right.
they know that they're going to eventually have to pay it back some years from now, but it's you don't know, okay, I'm taking out a $10,000 loan. I feel like we don't have the concept of what's $10,000.
Right.
So it's we're not educated in the sense of $10,000. To me, that seems like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money, but I don't know what's 10,000. If that makes
Yeah, and it's not just the 10,000 today. It's that you want to start paying that back until you're done with college. So, but it's going to draw interest starting right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you're paying interest on that. It's building up. So by the time you graduate, that $10,000 turns into $20,000, $30,000, and it still carries that high interest rate. That sure you can consolidate and all that kind of stuff and get a lower interest rate, but interest rates are high. So if you're paying 8, 9, 10% or higher on $10,000, well, that doesn't take long to add up. So it starts you off in a negative. And so it cripples a lot of people even from getting loans to buy their first homes or to their, it affects their credit, their ability to just their debt to income ratio. And you're not taught any of that. I didn't know any of that stuff whenever I graduated high school. So I came out of high school and I went to a good high school, but I didn't know anything about how money worked. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, you want to go to school? And I wasn't smart enough to get, my college paid for. And I messed up. I was dropping classes, and it affected the financial aid I did have. So then I had to take out student loans to go to school. I was like, yeah, sure. Because when I was in school, they were like, yeah, at the end of this, you can probably get them forgiven, and you don't have to even worry about it. Don't even pay them back. That was what was circulating. Now, how true it was, I don't even know. But that's the amount of education I had was, yeah, by the time you get to the back end of this, they'll forgive the loans, and you can, well, meanwhile, I started, yeah, sure, it pays for school, let's do it. But it wasn't a scholarship, it's a loan that goes against you. So the lack of education there is definitely as big of a problem as the actual
I also feel like
burden
college
itself.
glorify loans.
Yeah.
It almost feels like we get emails, especially now because we're approaching the end of the school year and we're about to start a new school year. It's they almost are glorifying taking out a loan. It's oh, take out this loan.
Yeah.
It's okay to take out loans. there's ways to repay them. Here's a repayment program. Like,
Right.
they almost set you up in a sense of, like, it's a good thing to take out loans. And it's like, as a student, like, if, like, sure, let's take out that loan. Like,
Yeah.
because you're getting that money in that moment. You
Right.
get that $10,000.
Right.
And living expenses could be going out to eat every night. They
Right.
don't, there's no, I mean, yes, it
Well, it's
has
not-
to be.
It's not check though. Like they're like you spend it on whatever that looks like, and for a 19-year-old, that's like winning the lottery.
Yes,
Give them a $10,000 check, and it's
you're telling me that I can get $10,000 right now, and it's like, sure,
yeah,
like it's convincing,
Yeah.
in a sense.
yeah, big problem for sure. What else? What's the next one you think? Con.
Definitely time commitment. Pursuing college degrees, it takes a lot of time, and it spans for 4 or more years. So that could delay entry into the working field, or it could delay for like making it takes you longer to get to making money. Whereas like
Right.
there's ways to start making money sooner if you don't go get a college education.
Yeah, if you don't go to college, there's definitely you jump straight into the workforce and you're getting income immediately. Now you're also taking on everything else that comes with that, but for sure you're the time commitment to it. If whether it's a 2-year degree, 4-year degree, I guess your track's going because you'll be doing the nurse practitioner, so you have to work for a little bit and then come back.
Mine is I've done 1 year. I go to nursing school for 2 years. I start working, am in school for about 6 more months while I'm working.
Okay.
I have to take a year to 2 years off depending on what program I get accepted in, and then go
Okay.
to school for another 2 years.
Okay. So you're still 6 years of college roughly for that. A lot of people who master's degree now has become what was a bachelor's degree for my generation is now the master's degree for yours.
Mm-hmm.
That if something requires a degree, most places they want to see the master's degree along with it, not just. So you're talking 4 to 6 years of time. Of course, unless you're starting as a sophomore in high school taking these classes, but still that commitment's still there because you started college when you were in sophomore in high school, and now so you're on your 4th year doing college classes, even though you're a freshman. So the time commitment definitely is a significant 4 to 6 years of time before you can start into that. That's definitely a factor.
It's also something that, yes, it's a time commitment year-wise, but like you don't realize how much of a time commitment it is while you're doing it.
Yeah.
I don't have time necessarily every single day. Like sometimes this is really bad, but sometimes I'm studying so much that like I'll realize like, oh, there's other things I need to be doing. Like this is very inconvenient. Like
Yeah.
not even that big of a deal, but like cleaning my room, cleaning
Right.
up the house. Like it's something so small, but 4 days of studying for a test in my room is a disaster. And I'm like, I don't even know how I got to this point, like
Right.
what day of the week it is.
Right.
It's just like,
Yeah, especially
and
as finals approach and you got all these tests to take and yeah.
it's insane. And you really you might only have class for 3 hours of the day, but that's not where school ends.
Yeah.
It's before class and after class, and not everyone realizes that. Like you think, some people think college is like, oh, well, it's this great thing because in high school I go from 8 to 3.
Yeah.
But in college, I don't even have to get up till 11 o'clock and I'm done by 2 p.m. Like that sounds like a great thing, but
Right.
it doesn't matter because you have to be up at 8 anyway. Like you have to be studying, you have to be doing other things, and especially if you get
Right.
involved on campus, like that's other organizations that are taking up your time.
Yeah. The other things to do as well, and the commitment there, it's a lot of reading, a lot of studying, a lot of prep. And if you're listening, you remember your college days of those late nights and fueled by energy drinks and all kinds of stuff, staying up late and studying, and just the time commitment that's there, not just for years, but even the day in, day out is definitely a con. All right, what else you got?
So the uncertain return on investment. While a college degree can increase earning potential and job opportunities for many individuals, there's no guarantee of a positive return, especially the chosen field of study. If it does not align with market demands or the graduate struggles to find employment after graduation.
Yeah, that's definitely just that uncertainty of, college has the term investment is such a interesting thing that we use, that going to college is an investment. I was told when I was 18, 19, 20 that getting a student loan was an investment in myself. It's the best investment I could take out, a loan being an investment. But the uncertainty of I'm going to spend all this time doing this, and is it going to pay off? I have friends who, I won't name any names, but I may get a text message after I say this. I have a friend of mine that he has 2 degrees he got when he was in college, political science and history. And he had to go back to school 20 years later to get an accounting degree.
Because I don't mean this towards anyone, but those are worthless degrees.
Yeah, well, like he's one of the smartest guys I know, super sharp, politically knows a lot of information. It makes for great conversation. But unless he's going to go be a campaign manager for some politician, those degrees don't help him. Now, it helps him be a well-educated person, and I'm sure he values those, but it didn't help him practically because the market demand there isn't there for a history and political science degrees.
And then, like, that's like what I was saying earlier. Like, I feel like COVID showed a lot of that.
Yeah.
That, like, there was a time where we weren't allowed to be open, and it showed, like, these are jobs we need compared to, like, these are jobs that are just there.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds, like, really bad to say, but nurses, doctors, healthcare workers, that's a need compared to, like, you don't need a hairstylist. You don't need to get Botox.
Right.
But it's a want. But it's like one of those things, like, those people were out of work for a while. Like, that's money you're not making.
Right.
And so it's, like, something that you have to realize, like, is this degree that I'm getting, even though I'm really passionate about it, is it worth it?
Right.
Is it worth something?
And, like, when I was growing up, the conversation was, is it a recession-proof job? That if we get into a recession, will I still have a job? And now you got to think, is this a quarantine-proof? If something happens and we get going under quarantine, is my job still a needed necessity that it will remain operational? Which gets into a whole different discussion. We won't dive deep into the political side of all that, but just that uncertainty of the return on investment. If I go spend these 4 to 6 years getting these degrees, is it going to matter in the end? Is it going to pay for itself and beyond is the question. And a lot of people end up leaving and changing and shifting fields. Like my buddy who went on, he found he loved accounting, and so he got a degree in accounting. So, yeah, definitely that uncertainty is there. All right, let's shift a little bit here, too. So that's the college side, pros and cons. We'll be a little let's go a little faster on this side. Pros and cons of the vocational pathway to success, because I think it's equal opportunity to be successful by not going to college.
Agreed.
So let's look at the pros and cons of taking that pathway.
So I would say the first pro would definitely be the practical skills you can obtain.
Okay.
With vocational training, it provides hands-on practical skills that allow individuals to enter the workforce quickly and efficiently.
Yeah, so walking straight into it. You're 18 years old, you finish high school, and you can instantly walk into a profession. And I think it's a practical skill that you learn. So I have friends that it still requires a process. I have friends who decide to be electricians, and you go down that path. You instantly have a job. You're learning on the job, the skill, and it's still a 2 to 4 year process to become that master electrician. Or the plumbing's the same way. You can get into plumbing, but to become that master plumber still takes a process that you have to walk through. But you're instantly walking in, making money, and pretty good money along the way to do it. So it's a practical skill that you can
Also,
have.
I feel like it's something that, like, for certain people, like, some people are not book smart.
Yeah.
Some people just can't. They don't understand school.
Yeah.
And that's just not for them. So, like, for people who just don't get it, I feel like it's the best way for them to go. They can be very successful. And, like, I have friends who I went to high school with who that's what they went and did. And now they're making a good amount of money for an 18-year-old.
Right.
So it's a good way to go if you're like, I'm not a person who loves school.
Yeah, and some people just they're not wired in that academic world. I feel like I'm kind of in a weird anomaly in that I'm very much when it comes to practical skills, hands-on. I have a blue collar heart, if you will, but I love education. And so while I have way too much time of myself spending in the academic world pursuing degrees, I also love to get my hands dirty and do hands-on work. And some people, they're just not cut out for that. Your dad, my brother,
Is not
that's not his world. To go build something, he'll help you. Like he'll grab whatever you need him to grab, but that's just not his world. He's going to be running numbers. He's a CPA, so for him it's all he's going to be in that number world, and he excels in that. But but don't ask him to go build you a shed. I built your aunt, my sister, a deck, and I tried to get him to come help me several times, and he was always busy doing something else.
Probably nothing.
Yeah. But like for him, like that practical skill world, college was the route for him. And there are people that the practical routes, hey, I can do this, I can learn this skill, and I can make money and be successful doing it. That's good. That's a good pro.
I would also say another pro would definitely be the job market demand. Vocational careers are high in demand right now. The need for vocational jobs in healthcare, construction, and technology is great, but the workforce for these jobs is lacking.
That's very true. The demand for it is insane because of a generation that pushed real strong, go to college, go to college, go to college, go to college. And so if I'm supposed to go to college, why am I now going to have a degree in history, biology, business, and then go be a electrician? They're not doing it. And so the need for construction workers, electricians, and even just your base labor, while there's in the medical world, there's a lot of the high-paying jobs, there's also that mid-range job where people come in straight away with a skill set, don't have to go to college for, and can make good money that aren't there. Working as CNAs and things like that you go get a certification for, but you can instantly walk into those careers. They struggle finding, and so the demand is there, so the pay goes up. So now those jobs of electricians, carpenters, all that stuff, those jobs are in high demand, and because they're in high demand, the pay is up. So now you can make a lot more being an electrician right now than you can having a 4-year degree, 6-year degree. You may have an MBA, and you're making less in the air condition than a guy that's out there, working in the heat during the summer.
100% absolutely agree. So it's insane.
The demand is definitely there, and especially right now, it's definitely, especially in the skilled. You learn that practical skill and you apply it, and we'll talk about this in a second too. There's still some education to it, but you apply that skill and do it right, and you can make good money and be very successful in it. That's good. All right, let's talk about some cons. What you got for cons for this route?
So I would say definitely the first con would be limited advancement opportunities. While vocational careers offer opportunities for entry-level employment and skill development, advancement into higher paying positions or leadership roles may require the additional education or training.
Yeah, for sure. That's, as I was just saying, there's a need sometimes to get that higher level of position may require some additional training, education. So there are some limits to it, and we'll talk about how to, I think, break through those limits here in just a second. But there are limits that if you just go out there and you get a job and you're working for somebody else, and it comes time to promote somebody, someone's going to get that management job, and it's me as a construction worker and someone else as a construction worker, but I have a degree. For whatever reason, sometimes those higher ups say, well, this person has a degree, we're going to give it to them. So just that advancement opportunity sometimes is, unfortunately, just a little bit stronger for the one who has the degree versus the vocational route.
I would have to, and I also feel like that comes because you have proven that you are willing to put in the work to get that degree.
Right.
Not that saying that you not having a degree, you don't have a great work ethic, but it shows that like you have a dedication to something.
Yeah.
Whereas like without a degree, you don't have anything that supports your dedication.
Yeah, it's just untested.
It is.
To them, while you may have a stronger work ethic without a degree, at least the degree shows that you've put in some time. And again, they don't know if you cheated your way through it or you effed your way through it, F's and D's all the way through. They don't know. But you could have F's and D's to get your way through college, and they don't know, they just see the degree at the very end. So, for them, they're like, there's the degree, and they've proven they've put in the time, energy, and effort, so it's got to mean something. And that other person doesn't have that piece of paper that proves to that boss. That's good.
I would say definitely that another con would be the stigmas behind it. Despite the value of vocational training and skilled trades, there can be still society stigmas or misconceptions surrounding these careers, leading to perception that is a lower quality route compared to like the traditional college paths.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because you can be successful in both routes. And I think this is starting to break some because of the shift of culture. because they're in such high demand, these types of career paths are no longer just lower income type of jobs. You're not calling the old dirty plumber down the street to come fix your toilet. No, you're calling a business with a system, and that guy's probably making more money than you are
It's
fixing
also,
toilets.
I feel like high schools, the way like we do it is there's two different paths you can take. You can take what's called Jump Start, or you can take TOPS. Jump Start sets you up for these trades that you can go. It like almost sets you up for success. So it's almost like validating these jobs, whereas before that wasn't there. Like it was only a college degree, whereas now it's like it's okay to do something else because school isn't for everyone.
Yeah, the school I taught in, very fortunate, they had a full-out Jump Start program. For those of you listening, maybe this that doesn't apply in your state that you're in. Here in our state in Louisiana, this program, what it does is it allows for these students to choose the path of college or choose the path of a career, and they give them. There's quite a few options.
Mm-hmm.
I know several students that were in welding, and they walked out of high school with a job offer as a graduate in high school, 18 years old, to make $30 an hour.
That's crazy.
And straight out of high school, no degree, $30 an hour is a great job to kick off.
Absolutely.
So definitely, the stigma is breaking. But there still is a little piece of that that's like, if you want a good job, go to college.
Mm-hmm.
That's the generation above me. That's what they taught us was, you get good grades so that you can go to college so that you can get a good job. And the reality is you can walk straight out of high school with a good job.
Absolutely.
So I think that stigma is starting to break. A couple of final thoughts here I just want to throw out to us. One, those are some great pros and cons. I think we get some good discussion around that. A couple of final thoughts I want to throw out to you in this discussion surrounding career paths, whether it's the college career path or the vocational career path, is I think that we're going to see in the near future artificial intelligence. AI is about to make an impact in, we don't know what that's going to look like, but it's going to make an impact into our workforce.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling it's going to come on both fronts. I think both sides, the vocational and the college route, AI will start affecting it because AI is going to replace the mundane type jobs.
Agreed.
Because if anyone can do it, AI can do it.
If your job is just to sit there and input people's schedules, a robot can do that.
Yep. Anything that is just a mundane job that anyone can do, AI can do. So there's college jobs that you get out of college, that's what you do, is anyone can do it. You had to have a degree to get into it, but anyone can do it. It's going to replace it. But same thing on the workforce side. Now, we're probably still, I may not see it in my lifetime. You may see it on the back end of your lifetime where AI is, using artificial intelligence, that it's then the construction, all the stuff that requires building. But even now, they're using technology to build things that people aren't having to even touch. Like because of all the different, like they can have, it's not robots, but like I've seen a house be built out of a machine, and not a single person touched it. So it's happening. Again, it probably won't fully happen in my lifetime, but in your lifetime, some of those jobs might be replaced. But I think it's a place for us to embrace. Like, don't fight it. If 100 years ago, if you would have said, hey, the tractor it's gonna destroy the farming world. It's gonna put people out of jobs. If you go ask a farmer right now, hey, no more tractors, you okay with that? Not a single farmer will want that.
Yeah.
Every one of them want that tractor. In fact, they want that $250,000 tractor that's gonna be programmed that they can type in and they can sit in the air conditioning and it does all the work for them. And so it enhanced farming, but it did affect jobs. Well, jobs just went to different places. And I think that's what we're going to see a shift in this. I think we'll see it in colleges too. Some of these degrees that have been around for many, many years that aren't fully relevant, we're going to see those start to go away because AI will replace, I think, some of the need for those specializations. And the second thought I have is just the value of education over college. And I have a belief that I think you can, in both routes, college or education matters. So I think whether you go to college or you take the route of vocational, education still matters. So I use that term. I use education over the term college. Do I think you need to go to college? No. Do I think you need to be educated? Yes.
Absolutely. I feel like it just depends on the person.
Yeah.
Again, like not everyone can do college.
Yeah.
I have seen like people in high school struggle beyond like words can say because it doesn't click for them. But you can be educated, not academically. You
Yeah.
can be educated in electricity. That's something
Right.
that like I would like to say I'm very book smart.
Yeah.
But with the term street smart, it's like I don't have it.
Yeah.
I could not tell you how to connect wires
Right.
or do anything like that. But like if you ask me something more academically, like
You could academically pass a test on circuits, but you may not be able to.
I could not. I
You couldn't pass that?
No, I could. Hey,
Yeah.
my 1/4 of engineering.
Yeah.
I could do some circuits
Yeah.
on paper.
Right.
But hands on, I can't do it.
Yeah. But like education does matter.
It does.
You know, so whatever route you take, being educated in it is matter. Leaders are learners, and if you're going to grow in your field and you want to be successful in your field, in order to be successful, you're going to have to educate yourself along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever route you choose, education is going to be a big part of that. Now, it doesn't have to be formal education, but if we're not growing and learning, we're not bringing value to the market. And if we're not bringing value to the market, we're not going to get paid at a high rate if we're not bringing value. So the more value we can bring, the better off we are. So just some final thoughts there, and a couple of resources I want to share with our audience today. These are a couple books that I've written, both of these released in the past 6 months. For maybe some of you who are trying to figure out what does it look like in the career world, if you're listening, you won't get to see it, but if you're watching, I'm holding it up here. It's called Ditch the Career, and essentially I have on here Shattering Myths and Unlocking Your Potential. There are a lot of people who they're still trying to figure out what that career looks like, even in their 30s, 40s, 50s. What does it look like? And even now, because maybe they went to college and they got that job and they realize that job isn't paying enough for them because they're still working for somebody else. And this is a great book to explore a little bit of some additional opportunities you have that may allow you to ditch that career. And by career, I mean where you're working under the control of somebody else. So that's the first resource. I encourage you can grab that on Amazon. The links will be in the show notes. So Ditch the Career is the first one. And the second one, I think this applies for almost anybody. It's called Unlocking Money Secrets. This is a great resource for you. It's the stuff they didn't teach you in school. As you and I were talking earlier, Mackenzie, about coming out at 18, 19, and no one was telling us about student loans and how money works. And so that's what this does. It teaches you how money works. Unlocking Money Secrets, what they didn't teach in school. And it dives into basic concepts and has a great vocabulary list in here of just some general concepts, but also walks through practical steps that you can take in your journey to learn about money. Because if you can figure out how money works, then that's going to set you up for success along the way, whichever path you take. If you're in college, it's a great resource because they're probably not. I taught business classes on the collegiate world. This wasn't part of what we taught, so it's a great resource. Or if you're going the vocational route, it is also a great resource. Well, I think this was an excellent discussion today.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you joining me on it, and we're going to shift a little bit here just for a moment. We're going to be real rapid on this. We do this every week. We do a rapid fire. We don't have a guest today, but since you're our guest co-host today, we're going to do some rapid fire questions that I want to throw your direction. All right, so here we go. The rapid fire part. What do you love about the current season of life that you are in right now?
Probably the amount of support that I'm getting, like all my friends, my family, like everyone's just so supportive, encouraging, and it's like very uplifting and positive, and it's just something that like right now it's like almost what you need with like different, like experiencing different things like your first year in college, and it's just like I feel so loved and sought after.
That's good. That's good. All right, what is something you know now that you wish you would have known when you were younger?
This is kind of cliche, but that everything happens for a reason and it happens how it's meant
Okay.
to. Like, again, I changed my major, but I ended up back where I was meant to be.
Yeah.
And it's like something that like you don't realize, like you don't realize that it really is going to happen how it's meant to be, even if in the moment it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, it just kind of affirmed for you this is the route to take with nursing, where maybe you had that question. Now it's like, okay, this is the right path. That's good. Who would you say has invested in you the most over the years?
Probably my parents, in the sense of like they've invested in me financially.
Yeah.
And they've invested in me like as a person. Like
Yeah.
they are constantly supporting me and encouraging me, and they want me to do what makes me happy, and they're not like forcing me to do what makes them happy or will make someone else happy.
That's good. Yeah, your dad's not making you be a CPA
Thank
as
goodness.
well. Yeah. All right. What do you love most about Louisiana Tech, the school you're at?
The size. It's not too big, not too small, not too far from home, but not too close either. So it's like I can still get my space, but again, like when I want to come back home or when I need something, it's like very convenient. And so it's something that it's very small, and all the professors and like the class sizes aren't super huge. Like the biggest class I've had was like 90 people.
Yeah.
And so it's like my professors are very intentional with everything that they do.
It has all the feels of the big D1 large university, but it's not so large that you get lost in the mix of it, and you're not too far, but you're far enough, right?
Absolutely.
That's good. All right, final question for you. What's next for you?
I would probably have to say just getting through nursing school. And I know that's kind of like, I just got accepted. I'm so excited. But I know it's going to be something that's like the next 2 years are going to be very like rigorous. It's going to be very hard.
Yeah.
And it's going to be something that I'm just going to like, I just need to get through it. And I need to just focus on being in the moment and being content with it.
Yeah, head down, but still keeping yourself grounded and not so stuck in the books. I had a lot of friends who've gone to nursing school and they disappear for a few years.
That's what I'm scared of.
They show back up and they're like, "Oh, where you been? Did you move? Oh, no, you've been here the whole time?"
Yeah.
You knew. Awesome. Yeah, so nursing school, that's good. Well, I love it. And I think this has been a fantastic episode. Appreciate you taking some time to spend with us to talk through, from your perspective, being in the middle of higher education and that career path. And so I think it's been a great episode.
Yes, it has been a wonderful episode. Thank you for having me back on the show.
Yeah, just a few things before we do go. If you want to sneak peek at some of the great behind-the-scenes conversations that we have, we won't have one today. We're not doing a Patreon today, but we have a lot of Patreon episodes that are just some behind-the-scenes sneak peek conversations where you can get some exclusive content from our weekly VIP discussions and conversations from our guests on our Patreon. And that's just for our Patreon members. So if you want to be a part of that, you can join for only $7 a month on our Patreon by joining by going to patreon.com/The Uncommon Success Podcast. The second thing I want to share with you is we are actually approaching the end of our season number 1 here on the Uncommon Success Podcast. We're going to be taking a break at the end of May as we finish out this season, and we are already preparing for season number 2 that's going to kick off in the fall of 2024. And so it's going to be a great time. We're already getting ready for that and excited about what we have to come in the next season. So we'll be taking a break during the summertime, so you don't have to. You can go ahead and take your vacation to Disney World or to the beach or wherever you're going this summer and not have to worry about missing any of our episodes. We do want to stay connected as a community, so encourage you just to get connected with us all across different areas. We value our community, and so we want to stay connected with you on all of those platforms.
Yes, you can either watch or listen on Apple and Spotify and YouTube. You can also join us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Please like, share, subscribe, and review. Also, please leave us some comments.
Yeah, especially as we wrap up this season, we'd love to hear from what you've learned in this first season, but also staying connected on those platforms as we do wrap up this season and prepare for the next one. We'll be dropping some little hints about what's to come over the summer, so you want to stay connected. So if you haven't joined us on those platforms, social media platforms, definitely get connected to us there. Well, thanks for joining us this week on this discussion.
Yes, that's it for another great episode. Thanks for listening.
Yep. Have a great week. See ya. Thank you for joining us on the Uncommon Success Podcast, where your commitment to growth fuels our passion to create more content. Special thanks to our executive producer, Jess Camp, and our technical director, Stephen Posey. We're excited about our episode next week and hope you would tune in to join us as we work together to continue our journey towards success. See you next time. Have a great week.